Hello everybody, Darth Terminus here, and if you've ever played Stellaris for any length of time, you've probably noticed how many options there are when it comes to ship design. The early game options are limited to Corvette class ships, so that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, going directly into the ship designer, you can see that the default is the Interceptor class. This is one of 3 hull configurations that Corvettes have to choose from. We're just going to go ahead and clear the design right now, so that way we can look at it in its raw form. This one's from the Mammalian ship set, and I actually really like this one. It's neat. When it comes to Corvettes, you've got 3 hull configurations to choose from. The default is the Interceptor, which contains 3 small weapon slots, 3 slots for small defense modules, and 1 auxiliary slot. Now, at first glance, this seems like a pretty decent configuration, but it's really not at all it's cracked up to be. Because if you look, let's go ahead and slap some weapons on here. It's got the lowest damage output of any of the Corvette configurations. Now, looking at the other 2 options, you also have the picket ship and the missile boat. Now, the most popular Corvette configuration is the picket ship, which is also my recommendation for your early fleet design. Picket ships have 2 small weapon mounts and a slot for point defense system, which protects your ship from incoming missiles. Now, when it comes to the point defense systems, you have 2 options. You have the Sentinel point defense and the flak battery. The point defense systems also have a high DPS, making them highly effective in Corvette swarms at close range. Starting with the flak cannon, though, these deal kinetic damage, which is basically like ballistic. These fire, bullets or like artillery shells. They're basically the same as modern anti-aircraft guns. Now, the Sentinel point defense deals energy-based damage and is very similar to the Guardian anti-missile system from the Mass Effect series. Between the 2 of these, Sentinel point defense systems tend to be the more optimal choice because they deal more damage. They have a higher, as you can see, looking at the stats panel on the right there, they have an average damage of 3.75. They have a lower tracking stat than the flak battery, but the flak battery deals it deals a lot less damage. The missile boat has 1 slot for missiles and 1 slot for a small weapon, which it looks like it's the weakest, but missile boats are better than you think they are, than a lot of people think they are. Because as you can see, if I slap a couple missiles on here, it deals almost as much damage as a picket ship, which is really good. Missile boats are better for when you have access to destroyers or cruisers, or just larger ship classes in general, because once you have that, your Corvettes are able to get a good opening salvo because of the long engagement range of the missile components. They'll be able to engage from a very long distance away, and as they close in, they'll be able to up their DPS with your mass drivers or your lasers. Eventually, you can get a component called an autocannon, which is amazing. Missile boats with autocannons on them just shred the defenses of really anything that they swarm up on. Going back to the picket ship design, however, this is the optimal design for your early game, your early fleet design. You're going to want to stick with the picket ship. My best recommendation is, until you figure out whether or not you want to spec into lasers or mass drivers, if you're wanting to make a role-playing decision on that for your empire, go with 1 of each, because that evenly spreads your damage. You'll get the most well-rounded approach to your damage modifiers by having a laser and a mass driver. As far as defenses go, the most economic choice is to run 2 deflectors and 1 full armor plating, the nano-composite armor. Starting off, that's probably your overall best bet. Hold on, I gotta turn this auto-generating off. But yeah, that's what your best bet is going to be for your early game. Swarms of Corvettes in this configuration can really help you out in any early conflicts you might have, whether it's with space wildlife, other empires, pirates. If meta builds or min-maxing isn't what you want to do, then I do strongly encourage you to make whatever RP design choices you want for your empire and ship designs. For example, you prefer your Empire to use laser technology, then outfit all of your ships with purely laser-based weaponry. It's not going to make that much of a difference. I mean, as you can see, the difference in damage is minimal. If you would prefer to use primarily mass drivers, even like say do flak batteries and all kinetic, you know, that's a significant dip in damage, like comparatively, but it is, you know, it's your Empire, and, you know, make whatever design choices you want to make. But just to kind of give you an idea of what these can do, I'm going to go ahead and save this design, and we'll queue up some ships to build in our shipyard over here. Now, even if you're playing a pacifist empire or focusing on diplomacy, the strength of your empire's navy is nothing to overlook. During times of peace, you can set your corvettes to patrol your systems in order to keep piracy down, and also protect your mining and research stations from interstellar wildlife. Things like space amoebas, void clouds, crystalline shards, pirates. Wait, I already said pirates. Like I said, it's nothing to scoff about. Okay, we're getting contacted from a thing. Okay, I don't think we have the power yet to take anything on, but what we will do in this case is I'm just gonna build up a fleet and we will find something. We will find something to attack. Okay, so here we have it. We found some things for our ships to be able to fight. Now, they are a little bit higher on the military power than us, but we have numbers on them, and we're playing determined exterminators, so that gives us a bit of an edge, I think. Especially if I take this perk right here. So, to give you a demonstration of how exactly the picket ship works, now, to be honest, 3 of these are interceptors. I did not retrofit them, but this will give you a good idea of how picket ships work. Now, as you can see, they kind of swarm in. You can see the small laser beams. Those are the point defense systems. Corvettes will swarm up on these things. They deal massive amounts of damage per second in this configuration, and it's probably one of the best meta builds, especially for your early game empires and damage output. Now, we are a little outgunned here, but if we just accelerate this up, we should get to a point where... Oh wow, that's going all over the place. Slow that down. Let's go with just the medium.
Technological acquisition successful.
I hope this fleet can take these guys. Ooh. This is maybe not looking good for our guys. Okay, we'll go ahead and hit the disengage. But as you can see, like they held their own pretty well against these ancient mining drones. Picket ships, best bet for your early game start off. All right, well, that's all we have time for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this and found the information in this video helpful. You know, I do want to do what I can to try and help people who maybe struggle with the early game and share whatever knowledge that I have as a player and share my experiences with you. If you like the content, feel free to give it a like, comment, subscribe, maybe share some of your own tips and tricks for ship design. Next week, we will cover some we'll start talking about destroyer theory, because I feel like destroyers kind of get the short end of the stick in the fan base, and they're way better than a lot of people seem to think they are.